So up to this point, we've been looking at how to start a model from scratch within RISAFloor and then finish in any of the components that we're missing while in RISA 3D. But we realize a lot of the times the starting point for a structural model is actually in the BIM realm, that being in this case in Revit. So we've actually got the RISA-Revit link, which is going to allow you to utilize the time spent in having built the Revit structural model to be able to leverage that into just directly exporting an analysis model straight from that. So to do this, we're going to look at the RISA-Revit link, which is free for download from our website at risa.com. After installing the link, you're going to find that when you go into the Add-ins tab in Revit, you'll be able to have these added options here, which will allow you to export to RISA, import from RISA, and turn on the RISA parameters as well. So taking a step back, it's important to realize that Revit does actually contain an analytical model. So to see this, you can simply come to the project browser while within Revit and click Analytical Model here in the 3D views. So if I zoom in here, we can start to see that the model looks a lot more familiar to us, and that being with stick elements that represent our beams and our columns, and then we have these sort of plate elements that model and reflect our diaphragms. So if I click on one of these elements, for example, like this beam, we can see that it's got some properties associated with it in Revit. If I come to this releases and member and forces section, we can actually assign end releases and forces to these members within our BIM platform. So if that's part of your workflow, you can certainly handle it on this end. Otherwise, there's certainly things that can be changed while in RISAFloor. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to export this model to RISAFloor by coming to the Add-ins tab. Simply click the Export to RISA button. And here you'll be presented with the option to export to either RISAFloor or RISA 3D. In this case, I highly recommend going to RISAFloor because we are working with building type structures. In a scenario where you have something that's a non-building structure, then it probably makes more sense to go to RISA 3D. So I'm going to go ahead and choose RISAFloor, which should be selected by default. I'm going to choose to also launch RISA right after the export process is complete. And that's just because I have it on my particular machine. So if you're in a separate case where you're the drafter and maybe not also the engineer, you can uncheck that, and that way you can just export a file, and that way you can pass that on to the engineer for them to start working on the analysis portion of the project. You can also have the option to export only the selected objects, and that's just going to help if you've made a selection of a small portion of your model to help speed up the export process. There's a few options here that you may want to change, but it's just important to keep consistent with those as you work back and forth. And that's a good point to touch on. So the RISA-Revit link is going to allow you to work bi-directionally on an unlimited basis. So as we realize that design is an iterative process and changes do occur, this will definitely allow you to go back and forth as many times as you need to. You also have the option to export either the physical model or the analytical model. So the physical model is what we saw in this previous view, where you can actually see the extruded shapes. In Revit, you can actually break apart the analytical model from the physical model. So for example, on a case where you have a minorly sloped roof to match, for example, the architectural slope for water drainage, sometimes you may want to actually have the analytical model be completely flat just for the sake of simplicity once you get into the analysis model. Well, in a scenario like that, if you've taken the time to make the analytical model within Revit flat, then it's probably worth transferring over the analytical model. But if they're one and the same, then it shouldn't make too much of a difference on what option you choose there. Another great option here is the ability to have the program automatically optimize the member sizes once you get into RISAFloor, or you can have it strictly analyze the sizes that are already in Revit. So in a scenario where you sort of put in some preliminary sizes when you put together the Revit model, and you really want the program to use its power to optimize those sizes for you, then of course the first option would be the best for you. And maybe you're in a scenario where there's an existing portion of the building where you don't really have the luxury of updating those sizes, so you want to analyze the sizes from Revit in that case. Up here in the upper right hand corner, we have the elements to link with RISA. So here's where you can change the checkboxes here if you don't want certain things to be transferred over between Revit and RISA. And that'll just help if you strip out certain things, it'll just help expedite that export process and make that a little bit quicker. Lastly, you'll want to come to the browse to go ahead and find a export path, and I've got mine saved here. So I'm just going to go ahead and press open, and press OK. It's going to ask you if you want to save your model. I'm just going to go ahead and say no in this case. And now the link is going to go ahead and start processing that export. So what it's doing is it's transferring over all the node locations on basically all of this analytical information that we're seeing in this current view. And once the process is complete, it's going to go ahead and show us and provide us with a warning log of anything that the program or the link may have had to have changed for things to come over seamlessly. It's a really great way to get a look into how that transfer went and if there's anything you may need to tidy up once you get into RISAFloor. So we can see if I expand this cleanup notifications, we just get a quick warning that some elevation offsets for floor 9 were set to 0 to comply with the RISAFloor analysis requirements. So that most likely just has to do with the fact that the floor levels need to be flat once they come into RISAFloor. And so there may have been a very slight differential there in those height elevations. So the link just went ahead and flattened those out for us. But it's again giving a very transparent view as to how the process went there. The export summary also provides us with a count of all of the elements that were transferred over. So if you wanted to, if you had beforehand maybe done a quick tally of a schedule of how many beams there were, it's a nice way to be able to confirm that everything transferred over. So I'm just going to go ahead and press OK to this, and then we'll find that the program is going to launch automatically since we had checked that box. And we're going to have an analytical model. So if I look in my isometric view, this is kind of the first thing I like to do when I transfer over, and just make sure that the model looks generally the same. So in our case, it looks really good here. It looks like all of our framing came over. I don't see anything standing out about anything missing. We can take a closer look and go to maybe, for an example, go on a particular floor. Let's actually just go up to the highest level where the deck's quite simple. And I can turn on my deck and see here that it's integrated as green. So if I come up to my legend to match what that color is, I can see that that's the 1.5 inch metal deck. So let's go ahead and just do a quick cursory review that particular floor in Revit does have that 1.5 inch metal deck. So I'm just going to come to my project browser, and I'm going to click on my floor 9 structural plans. And it looks like here I don't have my deck turned on, so I'm just going to go into my visibility settings, and then I'm going to go to the floor section and turn that on. Just make sure that's checked whenever you're doing this cursory review. And now I have that edge, which I can click on. And if I come to the properties, I can see perfectly that it matches the 1.5 inch metal deck from our RISAFloor model. So that's a great way of doing a cursory review. So going back into RISAFloor, at this point, since we have the full model transferred over from Revit, the engineer would now be able to start applying their loads and solving the model to have the program optimize the beams and columns in this model, and then we'd be able to send that back into Revit. So we can see here that we've cut out a large amount of time in having to build this model from scratch. As easy it is to do from RISAFloor, having to not do it at all is a huge time savings. So sort of along the same lines that we use to export the model, to import the model, we can jump back into Revit and we go back to the add-ins tab and go this time import from RISA. So we will have a few similar options from the export as far as these coordinates options and these x-axis options. You can also have the import process update the geometry and the sizes, or just update the member sizes only. So if you had made some minor geometry tweaks that maybe don't necessarily want to get reflected back into Revit because maybe it doesn't necessarily fit within the architectural envelope anymore, that's a good option to be able to just say, I want to transfer only the member sizes. Also, we have the elements to link with RISA dialog still. We've got a few more added since this is now the import process. So like the beam end reactions are now displayed here. So if I wanted to transfer these over, I'm going to go ahead and check these boxes in this case. And we also have concrete rebar import here in the upper right hand corner. So this is actually a pretty cool feature where you can actually transfer the designed rebar from RISAFloor and have it actually be 3D modeled in Revit. So this would come in handy in a scenario where your MEP trades are on board and you guys are also working together in Revit. This would sort of preclude any pipe penetrations going through highly essential rebar. At the very least, it could be a red flag for those different trades to speak with the structural engineer about making their penetrations based on the rebar present in any particular concrete member there. I'm going to go ahead and just pop open the model that we already have. I've already completed this import process. So if I click out of here, I'm going to go ahead and go to the model that we already completed this on. So if I come here, I've actually completed the import process already. And so now what I can do is I actually want to annotate these members here. So this is basically this would be the final step after performing all the iterations of the design that I would need to do to actually start documenting these plans. So to do this, I'm going to go into the Annotate tab. I'm going to go to the Beam Annotations button. And here we can see we're presented with a sort of plan view of a standard beam. And on all these different dialogues, we can change what's going to be reported. So by default, you're going to have the start reactions on the left, end reactions on the right, the beam size in the center here, which you can also change these from the drop-down menu as well. And then down below, I like to have the studs and the camber displayed. So if I press OK to this, it's going to go ahead and annotate all the beams on these plans. So in just a second here, we'll see all of those tags added. And if I zoom in, we can see these a little bit closer now. So here we see, of course, our beam size, our studs. We chose the segmented method, meaning there's going to be 4 studs in the left bay, 2 in the center, and then 4 on the right. And again, if you're in a place of the country where documenting your beam reactions is part of your workflow, to have that connection design be subbed out to another engineer, then we have you covered for that aspect as well. So to complete the process, you would just need to go ahead and work floor by floor to annotate your plans. And then your plans would be taken care of. And of course, just compile in your details, and you can see how much work this would have saved you if you compared this to the scenario where you need to actually mark up plans by hand and then transfer them to a drafter, where there's potential for mistakes to occur. This way, all that would need to be done is a file be given to the drafter and they can load it in by importing it, do all of that beam annotation for you a lot quicker than it would be to have to transfer that by hand. Thank you for viewing this session of the RISA Steel Building Workshop focused on the RISA-Revit Link. This concludes the presentation.